Ethan had seen countless travelers rush through the interstellar hub, their lives pulled by schedules and urgent missions. The crowd moved like a living river, humans and aliens flowing together, each focused on their destination. He usually kept to himself, observing the chaos quietly, letting the universe unfold around him without interference. But something caught his attention that morning. A small figure standing alone near the transport gates, trembling slightly, looking entirely out of place. The girl was unlike any he had seen before. Her skin had a faint bluish glow, and her eyes, large and reflective, scanned the crowd with a mixture of fear and hope. She wore a simple tunic that looked torn in places, as though she had been traveling for days. Ethan felt an immediate pull toward her. There was something human about her fear, a vulnerability that crossed species. "Hey," he said softly, approaching her. "Are you okay?" The girl turned toward him. Her gaze held a sharp intelligence, though tempered by uncertainty. I'm lost," she said, her voice quiet but clear. "I need to reach a safe place. Can you help me?" Ethan hesitated for only a moment. The words echoed in his mind, a simple plea for help. Humans had a way of responding to need, even when logic suggested caution. "Of course," he said. "Where do you need to go?" The girl's lips curved slightly. "I can't tell. Not yet. It's dangerous if others know. But you seem like you can help." Ethan nodded. He didn't ask questions he didn't need to ask. In a universe full of complexities, sometimes the simplest choices defined who a person or a human was. He held out his hand. "Come with me. We'll figure it out together." As they moved through the hub, Ethan noticed small things that seemed unusual. The girl, who introduced herself as Lyra, moved with surprising awareness for someone her apparent age. She knew how to avoid crowded areas, how to bypass security scanners, and she could read alien body language with uncanny precision. Ethan found himself impressed but slightly uneasy. He chose to trust his instincts. Lyra needed help, and he would provide it. They traveled through winding streets of the hub, passing stalls filled with exotic foods and alien technology. Merchants called out in dozens of languages, some offering goods that glowed, shimmered, or hummed with energy. Lyra's eyes widened occasionally, but she never wandered off. She stayed close, her small hand brushing against his arm as if she had been trained to move carefully in crowded spaces. "Where are you from?" Ethan asked during a rare quiet moment. Lyra hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Far away. Beyond the systems you know. I've seen planets with oceans that shine like mirrors and forests where the trees talk to one another. I've seen mountains taller than clouds." Ethan smiled despite himself. "You've traveled a lot for someone so small." Lyra shrugged, a serious expression returning to her face. "I've had to. But it's not just about travel. I've learned a lot along the way. Some things you can only understand by seeing them yourself." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Humans often prided themselves on bravery, on exploration, on reaching for the stars. But sometimes the true measure of courage was simpler, the willingness to help someone in need no matter the danger. Their journey was not easy. The city had areas that were unsafe, where rogue security drones patrolled for illegal activity, and smugglers looked for opportunities to exploit the unwary. Ethan found himself navigating carefully, using both his knowledge of human instincts and quick thinking to keep them safe. Clara followed silently, occasionally whispering suggestions that made him raise an eyebrow. She seemed more aware of the dangers than he expected, and he began to wonder just how ordinary she really was. At one point, a group of hostile-looking aliens blocked their path, demanding identification. Ethan stepped forward calmly. "We're just passing through," he said. "No trouble," the aliens sneered, their voices harsh and guttural. "Why are you with her?" "She is not from here." Ethan glanced at Lyra, who met his eyes with quiet trust. That trust gave him confidence. "She is lost," he said firmly. "I am helping her. You will not harm her." For a moment, the aliens hesitated. Then, as if sensing something invisible, they stepped aside, letting them pass. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. It was as if someone or something was watching, ensuring that the path remained safe for him and Lyra. As they continued, Ethan began to notice subtle signs of preparation along their route. Doors opening unexpectedly, barriers lifting just as they approached, even minor distractions pulling attention away from them. He considered the possibility of coincidence but found it hard to believe. The universe had a strange way of arranging itself, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was at play. Over the next 2 days, Ethan and Lyra traveled together, moving from sector to sector. They rested in quiet corners, ate at small stalls, and shared stories. Lyra spoke of her homeworld with a mix of nostalgia and hope. Ethan listened, realizing that despite her age, or perhaps because of it, she carried wisdom beyond his understanding. "You humans have a strange way of helping," Lyra said one evening as they watched the stars from a high platform. "You don't always think of the consequences. You act because it feels right." "That is rare," Ethan chuckled softly. "Sometimes it's easier to do what feels right than to overthink every possibility. Besides helping someone, it's just the human thing to do." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "Yes, I've observed this. It is why I asked you. I needed to see if someone like you would act without hesitation." Ethan frowned. "Wait, what do you mean, needed to see?" Lyra said nothing for a moment, only smiled faintly. "You will understand soon enough. For now, just keep helping me and trust your instincts." The third day arrived, and with it their journey neared its end. They approached a large structure, a building unlike any Ethan had seen. It radiated energy, and alien symbols glowed faintly across its surface. "This is where I need to go," Lyra said softly. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and curiosity. But as they approached the entrance, security drones surrounded them. Their glowing eyes scanned Ethan and Lyra, assessing, calculating. Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness. "Stay behind me," he said to Lyra. One of the drones spoke in a calm, mechanical voice. "Identify yourselves and your purpose." Ethan explained quickly and truthfully, describing how he had helped the girl find her way, protecting her along the journey. The drones paused, processing. Lyra stepped forward. "It is true," she said. "He has acted with honesty, courage, and compassion. That is why he is here." Ethan looked at her in confusion. Before he could ask more, the drones stepped aside, allowing them entrance. Inside, the building was vast, filled with light and energy unlike anything he had imagined. Lyra turned to him. "Everything you did, it was observed," she said quietly. "Every choice, every action. You have passed the first part of the test." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Test? What test?" "I was just helping you." Lyra smiled faintly, a mixture of warmth and mystery. "Sometimes helping someone is more than it seems. Sometimes it is a measure of character, a sign of what humanity can do. You showed them what humans are capable of." Ethan felt a strange mixture of pride and humility. He had acted naturally, without thought of reward or recognition, and yet his actions had significance beyond his understanding. It was a feeling both unsettling and inspiring. They spent the night inside the building, and Ethan observed the environment carefully. Strange technology hummed around them, seemingly alive. Lyra guided him through rooms filled with holographic displays, floating orbs, and structures that defied human physics. She explained little, only letting him experience it. By morning, Ethan realized the journey had changed him. Helping Lyra had required him to trust his instincts, to act with courage, and to show compassion in a universe that often rewarded only power and cunning. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing he had done what he felt was right, even if the consequences were unclear. Lyra looked at him with quiet approval. "Tomorrow," she said, "you will see why this mattered more than you imagine. But for now, rest. You have earned it." Ethan settled into a corner, staring at the glowing walls. He reflected on the journey, on the challenges they had faced, and on the choices he had made. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly connected, not just to Lyra, but to the larger universe, where courage and compassion could ripple across worlds. Unseen but powerful, as he drifted to sleep, he didn't know what awaited him in the coming days. He only knew one thing. Helping someone in need had revealed a truth he had always felt deep inside. Humanity's greatest strength was not technology, weapons, or strategy. It was the ability to care, to act, and to rise above fear when another life depended on it. And somewhere in the universe, unseen eyes had noted it all. The next morning, Ethan awoke to find the room bathed in a soft, shimmering light. Lyra was already awake, standing near a translucent wall that displayed stars, planets, and strange patterns that shifted constantly. The beauty of the view was mesmerizing, yet Ethan could not shake the unease growing in his chest. "Good morning," Lyra said, her voice calm and steady. "You slept well?" Ethan rubbed his eyes. Better than I expected, but I still don't understand. You said this was a test. What do you mean? And who was watching? Lyra turned to face him fully, her large eyes reflecting the glowing patterns around them. Everything you did to help me was observed by the Interstellar Council. They study civilizations across the galaxy to find those capable of trust, empathy, and courage. Your actions were part of an evaluation of humanity. Ethan blinked. Evaluation? You mean everything I did for the past 3 days was a test? Yes, Lyra said softly. Every choice you made, every decision to protect me, every risk you took, it was all recorded and analyzed. Your behavior shows qualities that are rare across the galaxy. Ethan felt a surge of disbelief. I was just helping a girl who was lost. I wasn't trying to prove anything. That is exactly why you passed, Lyra said, a hint of a smile on her face. The council wanted to see whether a human would act out of honesty and compassion, rather than for reward or fear. You did. That is what makes your actions extraordinary. Ethan stared at her, trying to process the enormity of what she was saying. It was one thing to help someone in need, but another to realize that the entire galaxy had been watching, judging, and evaluating him. A strange mix of pride and humility settled in his chest. Lyra gestured to one of the glowing walls. Holographic images appeared showing Ethan's journey through the city, the obstacles, the smugglers, the drones, and even his moments of hesitation and courage. Each choice he had made was highlighted, annotated with evaluations from alien observers. Ethan studied the images in awe. He had faced dangers, made split-second decisions, and protected Lyra without ever expecting recognition. Yet now his simple humanity had been recognized across worlds. Why me? Ethan asked. There are billions of humans. Why choose me for this? Lyra's expression softened. Because you acted without hesitation. You did not seek fame, wealth, or advantage. You acted with the instinct to help. That instinct is rare and powerful. The Council needed to see if humans could be trusted in future alliances and challenges. You were the one they observed, and you proved that humans are capable of extraordinary moral courage. Ethan leaned back, his mind swirling. He had always believed in doing what was right, but to think it could influence an entire galaxy was overwhelming. So, what happens now? He asked cautiously. Lyra smiled. Now you are recognized as a representative of what humanity can offer. Your actions have secured a place for humans in interstellar missions that require trust, cooperation, and moral judgment. The Council will reach out officially, but I wanted you to know the truth personally. Ethan shook his head, still struggling to grasp the enormity of it. I never thought helping a lost girl would matter this much. It does, Lyra said simply, because helping someone, especially when it is difficult or risky, reveals the true nature of a civilization. You showed that humans are capable of courage, empathy, and integrity. That is what counts. Over the next few hours, Lyra guided Ethan through the building, showing him more of the technology and the systems the Council used to observe and evaluate actions across the galaxy. He saw simulation rooms where choices were tested, holographic records of countless civilizations, and even glimpses of the galaxy's complex politics. But Ethan's attention always returned to the simple truth. His willingness to act morally, to help without expecting reward, was what mattered most. As they walked through one of the observation chambers, Ethan noticed a large screen displaying planets that humans had only just begun exploring. Lyra paused. Your species has potential beyond what many realize. Intelligence and technology are valuable, but what truly matters is the moral strength to use them wisely. That is why your actions were so important. Ethan felt a sense of responsibility settle over him. So I'm supposed to represent humans, even though I'm just me? You are just you, Lyra replied. And that is why you are perfect for this. The Council wanted someone genuine, someone whose actions reflect what humans truly are. You acted out of kindness, instinct, and courage. That is why you were chosen. For a long while, Ethan simply walked in silence, watching the holographic stars shift and change. He realized that his small decision, to help a lost girl, had shown something essential about humanity. He had not sought recognition, yet his actions had revealed humanity's true strength, compassion combined with courage. Finally, he turned to Lyra. I never thought of myself as a hero. I just did what I felt was right. Lyra smiled gently. That is exactly why you are a hero. True courage is not seeking reward. True morality is acting even when no one is watching. You have demonstrated both. The day passed with Ethan learning more about the Council and the interstellar networks that kept the galaxy connected. Lyra explained that his actions had already influenced decisions about future alliances, diplomatic missions, and cooperative exploration projects. Humans were now seen as potential partners in missions that required moral integrity, and much of that perception rested on his simple, honest choices. By evening, Lyra led him to a quiet observation deck overlooking the city below. Lights from alien architecture shimmered across the streets, and Ethan felt a profound sense of connection to the universe. "Do you understand now?" Lyra asked softly. I think so," Ethan said. "Helping someone, even without knowing the consequences, that's more important than I realized. It's not about winning or proving myself, it's about doing what's right." "Yes," Lyra said, her voice almost a whisper, "and that is why you succeeded. You acted as a human should, and in doing so, you showed the galaxy something precious." Ethan looked out at the stars, thinking of the countless humans and aliens who would soon face challenges and decisions across the universe. He realized that the courage and empathy he had displayed were qualities that could inspire others. Humanity had potential not just because of their technology or intelligence, but because of their moral instincts, their willingness to help even in difficult circumstances. Lyra stood beside him, her small hand brushing against his. "The Council will contact you officially," she said. "But I wanted you to know your actions mattered. You have made a difference not just for me but for all of humanity." Ethan felt a warmth spread through him. He had acted without thought of reward simply because it was right. Yet that small personal decision had echoes that reached across the galaxy. He understood finally that true heroism was quiet, subtle, and often invisible. It was in the choices humans made when no one was watching, when courage was tested, and when empathy guided action. The night stretched on, stars twinkling in the alien sky. Ethan felt both humbled and inspired. He had learned that one person's choices, guided by honesty, bravery, and care, could shape perceptions, influence civilizations, and even secure humanity's place among the stars. Lyra finally turned to leave, her figure small but confident. "I must return to my duties," she said. "But I will not forget you. Humanity has shown its strength through you. That is a gift I will carry." Ethan nodded, understanding that their paths might diverge, yet the impact of their journey would remain. He realized that helping Lyra had not just saved her. It had revealed the best of what humans could offer. In a galaxy of unknowns where power and cunning often ruled, the quiet courage of a single human had left its mark. As she departed, Ethan watched her disappear into the glowing city. He felt a sense of fulfillment deeper than he had ever known. Humanity's strength was not in what they conquered or controlled, but in the choices they made, the help they offered, and the courage they showed when it mattered most. Ethan remained on the observation deck, staring at the stars, knowing that even a small act of kindness could ripple across worlds. He had helped a lost girl, and in doing so he had revealed the true heart of humanity. The galaxy had noticed, and somewhere far beyond, unseen by him, the Interstellar Council recorded every detail, nodding in quiet approval. Humanity had passed the test, not because of technology or strategy, but because of the human heart, capable of empathy, courage, and quiet heroism. Ethan smiled, a simple human smile that carried the weight of a universe of possibilities. For him, the journey had been small, personal, and real, yet it had changed the course of how the galaxy would see his species. And that was enough.